Today is our first real class. We just learned how to talk about what is art, how to talk about art, but now we're actually entering the content in Art History 1. The content meaning the art. We are going to look at remarkable artifacts from the dawn of civilization. Before there was history, okay? There was already art. Do they call it art? Did they think it was art? The invention of the word art and such comes a lot later. People have been working with their hands and creating things we call art from the time that we exist, okay? So, you know, when we talk about prehistoric art, we're talking about art before writing. Writing is history, and history doesn't start till maybe 3,000 years before Christ. We're also going to use a signifier that's very Western, Eurocentric, before the birth of Christ, right? According to the Western world, you know, Christ marked like the before and after. So we still talk about before Christ, but you know, again, it's just how it's done in the Western world. Now, 5,000 years ago, because we have 2,000 after Christ and 3,000 before Christ, people started writing. So that's when history starts, because it's recorded. Before that, we call it prehistory. Now, from 40,000 years before Christ, before the year zero, okay, till around 8,000 years, okay, before the birth of Christ, we have art. We have art, and that art is divided in two very important categories. You have like Paleolithic and the Neolithic. Here's an example of Paleolithic art. Here's an example of Neolithic art. Now, Paleo means old, Neo means new. This is Old Stone Age. Lithic is stone. Lithography is a medium of printing in stone. So we have Old Stone Age, New Stone Age. Basically, you know, these Stone Ages imply the difference between the Stone Ages is agriculture, okay? People before the New Stone Age are really moving, all the time moving from one place to another, hunting, gathering, getting things. And then one day they settled because somebody discovered that if you throw, you know, a fruit and the seed comes out and something grows and that happens again, you can stay where you are. So basically, you know, in this New Stone Age, people started, you know, settling. Now, even before, you know, when people start settling, of course, then we have this remarkable thing called war. Because, right, I settle in my village, but you are not settled, and so you decide that you want the stuff I got in my village, so you sack the village, you attack. We start seeing, the moment that settlements occur, the birth of walls, great walls, you know, like palisades, enclosures to protect, because the advent of violence grows, and there's many levels of societies that are highly advanced and they know to harness, you know, the seeds, and societies that are still hunting and gathering. So you have that, you know, going on. And this basically maybe 9,000 years, you know, before Christ is when the move goes to agriculture. So by 8,000 we already have wars, you know, and that kind of thing. Now, we are talking about Mesopotamia, the land between the rivers, you know, on the Fertile Crescent of what is now Iraq, right? That supposedly was the Garden of Eden of the Hebrew people and the Semites and that kind of stuff. China is another huge, you know, the Yellow River, you know, you also have huge settlements way back. Egypt, another cradle of the most ancient civilization, and of course India, you know, the Indus River. Here in the Americas, we have settlements, but potentially they went from Africa to Europe and then connected to the Bering Strait, landed in the Americas. So our settlements might be a little later. And of course, maybe Australia too, a little different, you know, they went a little later. So the settlements are newer than the settlements of Mesopotamia, the Fertile Crescent, and China, and Egypt. But anyway, a couple of other things that you have to bear in mind. Around 3,500 also before Christ era, you have the invention of bronze. And in this, China, you know, even though it's supposed to have come from Turkey, China has some of the most exquisite bronzes in the world, in world art history, you know, ceremonial bronzes from the Zhou culture, you know, from the Zhou dynasty, and even before, all the way Shang dynasty has amazing bronze technology. But anyway, that helped to create art, that helped to create utensils, that also helped to create weapons, which is always the biggest industry in the world. So now, so basically, let's look at the art of the first people, as it were, like the art of the caves. And the art of the caves is something really magical when you think about it. You know, 25,000 years ago, before the settlements, before farming, before whatever, you have people sheltering in caves from the elements, from the rain, from the snow, and you have, you know, again, this weird guy, like in your class in 3rd grade and 2nd grade, you know, that starts painting in the walls, and you don't, nobody else is doing that, but then you start looking at what they're painting, and oh my God, it looks like a bison. Oh, that's cool. And there's the magic power of art. Like, so by drawing it, do I own that bison? By drawing it, do I have the spirit of the bison? By drawing it, am I going to get more bison? And so on and so forth. We also have these figurines. I'm going to show you one of my favorite right now. And they're probably for fertility. All of a sudden, you notice that your sister or that other woman in the cave, she's getting big. It's like, oh, what's going on here? And you know, that's how the children are going to come. And the people that have more children are stronger or whatever, or they help each other more. So how does that happen? So here's this little carved piece of rock or whatever that you give that woman when she's yelling and bleeding in that cave to give birth. So there is an element of fertility, of magic, and of great significance in these cave paintings, you know. And that's the Venus of Luxdorf that I just showed you, that little figurine of a woman. And bison, lots of bison. We're looking at caves, you know, like in Altamira in Spain. Altamira. We're looking at early caves from Europe called Lascaux in France. And of course, my favorite, that little woman, the Venus. Of course, that's not politically correct anymore to call her Venus, but we will still call her the Venus of Willendorf. And what is that if not a great cosmic mother from the area that was Germany? Now, I'm also going to show you some walls, some fortified walls from Jericho, okay? From Jericho in the West Bank territory near Jerusalem. I'm also going to show you some places in Turkey, Anatolia, some drawings. Here are some sculptures. And I would like to end with a monument that we all know and admire, and we're also mystified by. And that is, of course, the Stonehenge. You know, that circle of rocks in England that so many pilgrims go visit every year. And we believe it's a clock. Again, they're these huge monoliths arranged in a circle. And was it a clock? We don't know, we think so. But anyway, this gives you an idea of what prehistoric art was about. Thank you.